ruin people's lives, Reek.
I don't know what to do. I don't know who I can trust.
Are you ready?
We ruin people's lives, Reek, were the words of Brayden Weston in the teaser for Season 3 of Ghost, and it's a constant reminder for what happens in the game. People are out here dying and going to jail because they literally have no other option. But the fact is, both Brayden and Tariq chose this life.
You really gonna stand there and act like your dad wasn't rich and well connected too? I chose this life just like you.
Tariq St Patrick is married to the game. The moment he told Kanan he wanted to be his own man was the moment he chose his path, and him and Brayden have many similarities. They both come from privileged backgrounds with rich parents. They both went to Choate and are highly intelligent, and so I would like to think they could be anything they put their minds to. Both characters wanted to escape the shadows of their family name and be their own men, but the path both characters chose was the game. In comparison to Tariq and Brayden, Effie is a character who had no choice but to hustle, but she's someone who can relate to Tariq because of how she suffered heartbreak and loss of loved ones, whereas Brayden hasn't felt that yet, which is why when Tariq was facing a double homicide charge which came from Kane's manipulation of Brayden, this caused a bit of conflict between the best friends. Consequences are a huge part of this game, and innocent lives often get caught in the crossfire, something Brayden only began to understand in Season 2. So albeit there were other factors at play in the death of Lauren, which I will get to later on, she's just one character who they've ruined the life of, because no doubt, there will be more. So in the rest of this video, I'm going to be dissecting the power of relationships, similar to Tariq St Patrick's extra credit paper from Season 1, Episode 8. We're going to look at the messy aftermath of Lauren's death, starting with the complexity of Tariq and Lauren's relationship, the role various characters played in her death, especially Kane to Harder, but the implications and theories based on evidence, facts, and findings, and how it's going to affect the relationship Tariq has with not just Kane, but also Effie and Brayden in Power Book 2 Ghost, Season 3.
Instead of writing about power in relationships, I'm gonna investigate the power of relationships. You know, the ones I saw ended up in death, and the only ones I've ever been in were built on lies.
As Tariq embarked on his journey to graduate from Stansfield with a 3.5, which would give him access to his inheritance, we all know as life as a St. Patrick wasn't going to be as simple as Tariq just being able to concentrate on his studies. He had the added complexity of working with the Teharders to pay for Davis McLean, who in turn was working to release Tasha St. Patrick from jail. He also had other problems where he had to think quick. For example, when 2-Bit came to collect, or when Tasha asked him to kill Tamika and Epiphany. At the same time, Tariq was only 17, turning 18, and he still wanted to live a somewhat normal life that teenagers normally have. But Tariq's life was anything but normal. He was living a double life. When we were introduced to Ghost, he had a dual identity. He was forever trying to escape the identity of Ghost and become James St. Patrick, the businessman.
And forget Ghost. Call me James.
The relationship that he built with Angela was built on lies, and so she was a character who complicated matters for Ghost, similar to which Lauren did with Tariq St. Patrick.
Your mom doesn't deserve to be in jail. I know that. But murderers and drug dealers, they do.
Lauren was a character who believed drug dealers and murderers should be in prison, and ironically, that's exactly what Tariq St. Patrick was. He was a murderer and a drug dealer, and so this relationship was built on lies from the beginning, regardless of whether Lauren was changing Tariq's mind or not. Now, Tariq St. Patrick was persistent with Lauren. He made it clear he had options, but he wasn't backing down when it came to Lauren, even if she did have a square for a boyfriend, Malcolm, someone who she did break up with the hope of getting closer to Tariq St. Patrick, something Tariq did want. But the timing with Lauren was always wrong, which is a theme that continued in Season 2. Whenever Tariq and Lauren got close, the game came calling, and I'm sure we could all relate. Right person, but wrong time, which is why Tariq always struggled to build a real relationship with Lauren. He was forever trying to hide his double life. Now, this wasn't just Tariq trying to hide his double life, it was also an Easter egg and a callback to what Ghost had to go through when he hid his double life through his bloody vest after he killed Miguel Alvarez in the first episode of Season 1. Now, the relationship between Lauren and Tariq became even more complicated after the reintroduction of Effie.
Now I see what the other night was about. This doesn't look worth it to me.
Oh shit, you big man, huh?
Effie came back into Tariq's life just at the right time when it came to paying 2-Bit, but at the wrong time for his relationship with Lauren. We not only saw Tariq get with Effie, but Tariq really coming to terms with who he was, which is something they portrayed through Frankenstein, the title of episode 9. In Tariq's words, he didn't know how to be different. All he knew was what his parents taught him, which was to lie, but also murder and play the game. But bringing it back around to the power of relationships, this is why Tariq's relationship with Lauren was always built on lies. He was a drug dealer and a murderer, and the relationships that he's ever known from his past ended up in death and were built on lies, which is why Tariq and Lauren could never be. The implications of Lauren getting close to Tariq St Patrick was fatal in season 2, as law enforcement were looking at Tariq St Patrick, and with Kamal Tate wanting them to turn their attentions to Tariq because of Jabari's book, Lauren got caught in the middle. This was the beginning of the end for Lauren, which all started with Brushandria putting some drugs from Course Correct in her drawer. So when her room was searched, she was brought in for questioning at no fault of her own, which I do think is important for us to understand. Lauren was caught in the middle, and she was also lied to by Carrie. Professor Milgram told Lauren that law enforcement were focused on Brayden Weston being the drug dealer in Jabari's book, when in fact, she knew very well they were looking at Tariq. So with Brushandria putting drugs in Lauren's drawer and Carrie forcing her to wear a wire, Lauren really was given no option. She did what she thought would save her education and also protect Tariq. But not only did it put Tariq in danger, it put her own life in danger, especially as the watch caught Lorenzo Tejada Jr. and Brayden Weston. When we talk about the power of relationships, Kane's manipulation of Brayden was built from Mecca's mentoring of Kane. He said the best way to get control over Tariq is to get control over Brayden, but in doing so, and constantly showing up at Stansfield, he was caught on the wire, which has also indirectly put him on the radar of Jenny Sullivan, which is something else to bear in mind for season 3. Now, when Tariq had found out Lauren caught Kane on a wire, he told her to leave town. Another somewhat Easter egg to his father Ghost, who did the same with Holly and Maria Suarez, and Lauren would have got away if Tariq hadn't told Effie, that is.
She got Kane on the wire?
And Brayden, but Brayden's not gonna want to kill her if he finds out. Kane's the danger.
Effie's choice of words in this scene was carefully written. She caught Kane on a wire, and she said Kane because she knew he was the danger, not Brayden. But as we continue the theme of power of relationships, where Tariq didn't want Lauren to be killed, Effie knew what had to be done to protect them all. Kill Lauren. By telling Kane about Lauren, she had two motives: kill Lauren for wearing a wire, and also get rid of her competition when it came to Tariq, which no doubt will complicate things for Effie and Tariq's relationship in season 3. Now, we can also extend the power of relationships to Brayden and Effie. Now, in this conversation, Effie made it clear that Brayden chose the game, and where you choose the game, you have to play by its rules. You can't just pick and choose how to play. But this conversation also revealed to Effie Brayden wasn't ready to kill. And not only did Effie have the two previous motives, she knew Brayden wasn't a killer, and in essence, she was saving Brayden from having to commit murder, because when you kill, it changes you forever, whereas with Effie, she'd already accepted the fact she was a monster. So with Lauren now dead, and with the evidence, facts, and findings out the way, let's run through the implications and theories for these relationships in Power Book 2 Ghost Season 3. In Season 3, business may be booming, but a staggering reveal forces Tariq to reckon with the betrayal from those closest to him, and I think we all know what that reveal is: Kane, Brayden, and Effie's role in Lauren's death. And I think we may have already got a glimpse to the aftermath of when Tariq finds out. In the teaser, we see Tariq punching Brayden, potentially the moment where he realizes the truth behind Lauren's death and Brayden's role. But I do think Brayden's shown enough loyalty for me to think they'll be able to work things through. If it wasn't for Brayden taking the stand and taking the fall for Course Correct, it could have been a very different outcome for Tariq St Patrick, especially if Trace took the stand. So where Lauren's death may cause some cracks, I do think they'll work things out, especially because Lauren's death was pushed more by Effie and Kane to harder. Now, Tariq and Kane's relationship has never been great to begin with, which dates back to Season 1. Kane felt as if Tariq St Patrick came into the Tejada's organization and effectively replaced him, which he did, but mainly because Kane couldn't be trusted due to his impulsive decision making and chaotic nature, which is why when Tariq questioned Kane about his role in Lauren's death, he had his gun ready, just in case. Now, Kane denied any involvement, but they didn't have time to get into specifics because there were bigger matters at hand. Although I don't think Tariq believes him anyway, which is why I think we're going to see Tariq dig deeper into Kane's role, which starts with Effie. While Tariq was in jail, Kanan made a point of how he was seeing the chessboard all wrong. So if Tariq was to look at the chessboard and realize, he told Effie, he just needs to connect the dots to Brayden and Kane, which is something I do expect Tariq to do at some stage, possibly with the help of Cooper Sachs or Davis. But what does he do when he finds out? I don't think he's going to kill Effie, but I wouldn't be surprised if this puts a huge wedge in their relationship, something which could cause Tariq to distance himself to Effie and keep things strictly business. I also wouldn't be surprised if he gave Tasha a call and asked her for advice, not just because he's done so before, but I'm sure he's going to be devastated because he put trust in Effie, only for her to go behind his back. But then again, are we surprised? Should Tariq even be surprised? The only woman in his life that he can really trust is his mom, Tariq St Patrick. Tasha is the only one who'll give him the advice and tell him what he needs to hear. So where I don't think Tariq will have a lot of trouble with Brayden, Kane and Effie are a different story. Although he knows where he stands when it comes to Kane. He knows he's his enemy, and Tariq's keeping his friends close, but enemies closer with Kane. But Effie going behind his back will definitely hurt him. So with that being said, that's the story and the messy aftermath of Lauren's death. Many questions remain unanswered, especially when it comes to the power of relationships between Tariq, Effie, Brayden, and Kane. So what will Tariq do when he realizes someone who he thought he could trust betrayed him once again?
You would trust me to do that?
Other than my mom, you're the only person I can trust at all.